Hi, it's your American English teacher, Gabby from GoNaturalEnglish.com. Today, we're going to test your English skills, but this test is not your typical English test. See, there are no right or wrong answers. It's an assessment of your English level, and I need you to be honest about what you can and cannot yet do. The purpose of taking this test is to help you understand how far you've come and how far you have to go. If our goal is English fluency, confidence in speaking skills, and the ability to understand native English speakers, then it's important to see where you are now and how to get to your goals, how to achieve your English speaking goals. So I'd like to ask you to take this test with me if you are up to the challenge. All right, well, let's begin the quiz and see how you do. For each of these questions, I'm going to ask you to rate yourself. Would you say rarely, sometimes, or often? Here we go. Number one, you can speak English without translating in your head. Rarely, sometimes, or often. If you have to stop to translate into your native language before you speak English, this is a real problem for many reasons. First of all, it really slows you down because you have to translate, which is actually a lot of work. And second, the problem is that a lot of words and phrases lose their meaning or get lost in translation. So it's quite dangerous to do this actually because you might not get the true feeling of a word when you translate. Number two, you make very few errors, and when you do, you can catch your own mistakes. Rarely, sometimes, or often. You know that you're becoming aware of English and mastering English when you can actually catch your own mistakes. Look, everybody makes mistakes, even native English speakers, even fluent English speakers, even advanced English speakers. We all make mistakes at some point, but the important thing is to stop yourself and correct yourself. Be aware that you're making mistakes and improve on them. Now, if you're still learning, if you make a lot of mistakes, you're going to need help to catch your mistakes and correct them. Three, you can use a wide variety of phrases and expressions, including phrasal verbs, idiom, and sometimes slang. Rarely, sometimes, or often. The trouble is, when you're an intermediate English learner, you often reuse the same vocabulary over and over. And while this may get your point across, it's not as expressive and you don't have as many options, and you may not understand what native English speakers are saying when they use more interesting or advanced or colloquial expressions. Four, you can talk about technical or specific topics. This is important if you're using English in your career, maybe a specific field like science or medicine or technology. If you can't talk about technical aspects of your career in English, then that's a problem. And if you can't talk about specific interests that you're into with friends who speak English, that could be a problem too. You'll be stuck at a lower level of English if you can only make small talk, which is important, but we want to be able to communicate in a variety of situations. Five, you can use all grammar tenses, past, present, and future, easily with confidence. Rarely, sometimes, or often. In order to express yourself fully, we need to have mastery of a full range of grammatical expressions. So if you're not really confident about all the tenses yet, then keep going. Keep practicing until you can use them all with ease. Question 6. Native and non-native English speakers are impressed by your English. Rarely, sometimes, or often. When someone is impressed by your English, they might say that you have great English skills, but just someone telling you that you're good at English doesn't necessarily mean that you really are good at English. They might just be giving you a compliment or wanting to encourage you, or they might be sincere and you might be really good at English. You know someone's really impressed when they understand what you're saying, and you can communicate what you want to express with ease. Maybe you help other people to understand who you are and what you do and what your goals are. Maybe you even teach people other things in English. If you can impress people with the way that you express yourself using advanced vocabulary and interesting idiomatic expressions, then you are at the advanced level of English. 7, you understand humor and jokes in English the way a native speaker would. Have you ever been in a conversation, sitting around with a group of friends, someone tells a joke and everyone laughs, but you just don't get it? And maybe it's because you didn't get the joke in English? Well, English is much deeper than just vocabulary and grammar. It's cultural, and humor is part of culture too. So we need to learn what people might consider funny in English as well as just grammar rules and other things like that. Once you understand why people are laughing, you're at the advanced level of English. And if you can tell jokes yourself, you're at the advanced level of English. 8, you don't usually get stuck in English, but when you do, you find a way around it. If you don't know a specific vocabulary word, you're able to describe it in other words and get your point across or get other people to understand you. Would you say rarely, sometimes, or often? This is important because we all forget words sometimes. We all get a little brain fog and can't think of a specific word, but the important thing is that you don't stop trying, that you keep trying to get your point across with other words, and you have other words to do that. Number 9, you are not uncomfortable or not very afraid of speaking English with native English speakers. Rarely, sometimes, or often. Fear is a big part of what holds us back with English fluency, because if you're afraid to approach native speakers or you're afraid to participate in conversations with native speakers, you don't get that practice that you really need. And so exposure and immersion to native English will help you break through to fluency. Number 10, you feel like you can express your true self in English. You don't feel fake. You feel natural. Rarely, sometimes, or often. This is really important. Even though sometimes people say that when they speak another language, they feel like another person, this is sometimes a side of you that comes out through the new language. It doesn't mean that it's fake. It's just another part of your natural self. So if you can express that, that means you've mastered English. If you feel like you're stuck or people don't really know who you truly are in English, then that can be something to work on. 11, English speakers easily understand you. This is about your pronunciation. It's important that other people understand you. Also, of course, you have to understand other people, but in order to be fluent, you have to be understood as well. So if you notice that people are looking really confused when you speak English, or maybe you don't get a response that makes sense, it could be that you need to improve your pronunciation. Also, if people don't talk to you for a very long time, that could mean maybe they just don't want to tell you that they don't understand what you're saying. Number 12, you understand TV shows, movies, the news, materials intended for native English speakers without using subtitles. This is a big one. Many of you tell me that one of your goals in English is to be able to understand these materials like movies, TV shows, music, the news, all in English without the help of subtitles or reading along. So if you can do this, your English is advanced. Now, if you answered mostly, rarely, that means that we have quite a bit of work to do. Now, don't stress out because you have already come a long ways and you can do a lot. But it's a good idea to think about what your goals are in English and how you can improve your skills in order to reach those goals that are most important to you. If you answered mostly sometimes, then keep going. You're doing good work. You're on the road to fluency. And I'm sure that if you just keep going, you will break through to fluency soon. And if you answered mostly often, well, congratulations, you're doing a fantastic job, and you may already feel that you have broken through to fluency. Now, you might need to fine-tune your skills a little bit. We're always learning new words and new ways of expressing ourselves in English as a second language, but you're doing a fantastic job, and I commend you for your efforts. So I hope that this helped you to understand your level of English and maybe to think about where you need to or want to improve your skills in the coming months. In order to reach your goals in English, like speaking fluently and with confidence, I've created the complete Go Natural English course that has helped thousands of English learners from over 134 countries to reach their goals in English together with my help and with our amazing community from all over the world. So if you would like to get more information about how the course works, the benefits, and the details like the price and how to join, then I highly suggest that you join the waitlist now at gonaturaleNglish.com/pre-reg. I only open registration a couple of times a year, so it's important that you get on the wait list to get a notification and information so that you don't miss your opportunity. All right, I hope to see you there. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.